The cold wind howled outside the hospital window, rattling against the glass as if nature itself was crying for mercy. Inside room 304, a pale woman lay still, her breaths shallow and uneven. Beside her, a little girl, no older than 6, clutched her mother's fragile hand, whispering prayers in her tiny voice. "Please, God, don't take Mommy yet." Her eyes shimmered with innocence and pain, her heart too young to understand what 1 month to live truly meant, yet old enough to feel the terror of losing everything. If this story already tugs at your heart, please pause for a second. Like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Tales, because some stories remind us that kindness and second chances can change lives forever. Her name was Lily, a bright little girl with a smile that could melt any heart. And the woman fighting for her life was Rachel Parker, a single mother who had spent the past 6 years raising her daughter alone, after being abandoned by the man she once loved, Ethan Cole, now one of the most powerful CEOs in New York. Rachel had never told Lily about her father. The pain of being left behind was buried deep, and she believed that protecting her daughter from that heartbreak was the only way to keep her innocent. But fate has a cruel way of revealing hidden truths, especially when time is running out. Rachel was diagnosed with late-stage cancer 2 months ago. Despite treatments, the doctors had finally said the words she feared most: "You have 1 month left." Her world shattered, not for herself, but for the little girl who would soon have no one to call Mommy. She cried every night, clutching Lily as she slept, wondering who would love her, protect her, or teach her about the world. But Lily, wise beyond her years, noticed everything: her mother's trembling hands, her forced smiles, and the stack of unpaid medical bills hidden under the kitchen drawer. She knew something was terribly wrong. One rainy evening, Rachel sat by the window, staring into the distance, lost in thought. Lily climbed onto her lap, pressing her little head against her chest. "Mommy," she whispered, "if you go to heaven, who will tuck me in at night?" Those words broke Rachel's heart into 1,000 pieces. She hugged her daughter tightly, tears slipping down her cheeks. "I'll always be with you, sweetheart. Even when you can't see me." But Lily didn't want always in spirit. She wanted her real mommy, her laughter, her hugs, her stories before bed. So one morning, as Rachel rested after another exhausting hospital visit, Lily quietly packed her little pink backpack. She took her mother's old photo album, the one with a picture of a young man Rachel once loved, a man Lily had seen often but never knew. Under the photo was his name, Ethan Cole. Lily didn't know who he was, but she noticed something: his eyes. They looked just like hers. That same day, she sneaked out of the hospital and took the city bus, clutching the photo to her chest. Her heart pounded, her small feet dangling from the seat as she looked out the window at the tall skyscrapers of New York. She had seen this man before on a billboard: Ethan Cole, CEO of Cole Enterprises. The same name, the same eyes. Maybe he could help. When she reached the towering glass building, she was dwarfed by its sheer height. The guards at the entrance stared in surprise as this tiny girl walked up with determination. "I need to see Mr. Ethan Cole," she said softly, holding out the photo. "It's important." The guards hesitated, unsure whether to laugh or call someone, but something in her trembling voice made them stop. One of them called the secretary upstairs. Moments later, Lily found herself standing in a grand office with floor-to-ceiling windows and a view of the entire city. Behind the desk sat a man in a dark suit, tall, confident, and intimidating. Ethan Cole. He looked up from his papers, confused to see a little girl standing there, clutching a worn photo. "Who are you?" he asked gently, lowering his pen. Lily's lip trembled. "My name is Lily Parker," she said. "Anne. I came to ask you something very important." She took a deep breath, remembering her mother's words about bravery. "Will you marry my mommy?" Ethan froze, stunned. For a moment, he thought he'd misheard. "What did you say?" Tears welled up in Lily's eyes. "Please, sir. My mommy's really sick. The doctors said she only has 1 month to live. I don't want her to be sad or alone anymore. You look kind, and you have the same eyes as me. Maybe if you marry her, she'll smile again." Ethan's heart clenched. He didn't know what to say. Something about the girl's face, her eyes, her expression, felt eerily familiar. He asked where her mother was, and Lily handed him the photo. When he looked at it, his entire world stopped. Rachel. The woman he had once loved, the one he had lost because of a lie 6 years ago. He remembered everything, the misunderstanding that tore them apart, the day he left believing she had betrayed him. But looking at Lily, he realized what he had truly lost. A family. A daughter. Without a moment's delay, he told his secretary to cancel all meetings. He drove Lily back to the hospital himself, his heart pounding as if racing against time. When he entered Rachel's room, she was asleep, pale and fragile, unaware of the miracle walking toward her. When her eyes opened, she froze. Ethan. After all these years. Her first instinct was pain, old memories, heartbreak, and guilt flooding back. "Why are you here?" she whispered, her voice weak. Ethan's eyes glistened. "Because your daughter came to find me. She begged me to marry you, and I didn't know why until I saw you lying here." Rachel looked at Lily, who smiled innocently, unaware of the history between them. "Mommy, I told him you need someone to love you before you go to heaven." Rachel's tears fell silently. She had never wanted him to know, never wanted him to feel burdened by the past. But now, sitting there, looking into his eyes, she realized fate had brought him back for a reason. Days passed, and Ethan stayed by her side. He took care of her hospital bills, arranged the best doctors, and made sure Lily never felt alone again. He would bring flowers, read stories, and hold Rachel's hand every night. Slowly, the walls around their hearts began to crumble. He confessed how deeply he had regretted leaving her, how he'd lived in emptiness despite all his success. Rachel forgave him, not because it was easy, but because she knew holding on to pain would only waste the little time she had left. One evening, as the sun painted the sky in hues of orange and pink, Ethan walked into the room with a simple silver ring. He knelt beside Rachel's bed and whispered, "Let me make things right, even if it's just for a little while. Rachel, will you marry me?" Her lips trembled, eyes filled with tears. She nodded weakly, smiling through the pain. The next morning, with Lily holding a bouquet of wildflowers, they exchanged vows right there in the hospital garden. Doctors, nurses, and even strangers gathered to witness a love story reborn, not of perfection, but of forgiveness and fate. Lily wore a tiny white dress, her face glowing with happiness. She didn't fully understand marriage, but she knew her mommy was smiling again, really smiling, for the first time in months. For the next few weeks, Rachel lived like she hadn't in years. Ethan took her and Lily to the beach, where they built sandcastles and watched sunsets. They laughed, sang, and held hands as if every second mattered, because it did. But life is fragile. One night, Rachel's condition worsened. The doctors said it was time. Ethan held her hand, tears streaming down his face as she whispered, "Promise me you'll take care of her." He nodded, choking back sobs. Rachel smiled faintly, her eyes drifting to Lily sleeping peacefully beside her. "I'm not scared anymore," she whispered. "Because she has you now." With that, she closed her eyes, her hand falling still in his. Ethan cried quietly, holding her close as the room filled with silence and the soft beeping of the machines faded. Days later, Lily asked, "Did Mommy go to heaven?" Ethan hugged her tightly. "Yes, sweetheart. But she's watching over us every day." He kept his promise. He raised Lily with all the love in his heart, telling her stories about her mother's kindness and courage. Every year on Rachel's birthday, they visited her favorite garden and released white balloons into the sky. Years later, when Lily grew older, she found the old photo album again. Tucked inside was a letter Rachel had written before she died. My dearest Lily. If you're reading this, it means Mommy's already in heaven. I want you to know that love is the most powerful thing in the world. It can heal, forgive, and bring people back together, even when it seems impossible. Never stop believing in kindness. Never stop loving with all your heart. Love, Mommy. Lily folded the letter carefully, her eyes wet with tears, but she smiled. I won't, Mommy. I promise. If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Tales. Your support helps us spread stories that remind the world how love and kindness can heal even the deepest wounds. Comment below with a red heart if you believe in second chances and that love always finds its way home. That day in the hospital garden, when a little girl's wish came true, wasn't just a marriage between two people, it was the reunion of a family that destiny had once broken apart. And though Rachel's time was short, she left behind something eternal. The message that kindness and love can outlive even death itself.